For what feels like already the 100th time this season, the Detroit Pistons fall apart late in the game against the Houston Rockets and fumble yet another win on the season. We'll break down how they did this and what went wrong in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Let's go.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Koo Cahill. You can find me over on Twitter at Koo Cahill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Subscribe to the personal YouTube channel at Koo Cahill. And also make sure if you're interested in joining our Insiders program, Locked On Pistons Insiders program, text 313-914-6528 to get personal text messages from me, talk with me one-on-one, and all kinds of Pistons-related content. Also, I want to make sure I let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. The Detroit Pistons, who were coming off feeling pretty good last week, winning 3 of their last 4 games. I saw everyone screenshotting already, stop the count, because the Pistons are in the 6th seed heading into this game against the Houston Rockets. Pistons have been playing, good let's say good basketball, but they've been playing much, much better basketball, and basketball that fans can be proud of entering in this game against the Houston Rockets. But it's getting to a point now where it's November 10th when I'm recording this, and it's not that the roof is, like, the sky is falling or anything. However, it's getting a little too much, too many already of these losing games that you should have won at the end of the game. It's already becoming a little too much. Just a little too much. The Pistons had every chance to win this game against the Houston Rockets. They lost 101-99. The Houston Rockets were practically giving them the game. In the fourth quarter, they went with multiple isolations to Jalen Green, who after posterizing Cade earlier in the game decided he was just going to take every fadeaway 2 possible. Shot 6 of 17 from the floor. So they were giving them every chance to win this game. The Pistons got the lead in the fourth quarter. And then they just fell apart with terrible execution down the stretch. There's one big issue that we are going to dive even further into in the third segment of today's episode concerning their size. We'll talk about that later. But one of the reasons why the Pistons lost this game is because they couldn't keep the Rockets off the offensive glass. They were getting multiple second chance points, and it was really killing the Pistons. It was really killing them. They would get some stops, feel like they were going to turn momentum back their way, have a chance to, stack up on the lead, and then they had to give up an offensive rebound. In the fourth quarter, the Pistons gave up 7 offensive rebounds. And give you guys a hint in what we're going to talk about in the third segment. It wasn't all from Sengun. Sengun had 2 offensive rebounds. Tari Eason had 4 in the fourth quarter. So read into that what you'd like. But offensively in the fourth quarter, the Pistons fell apart. And this time, this isn't one of those we're going to come on here and talk about, well, did Cade shoot enough? Did Cade not show up in the fourth quarter? Cade did enough in the fourth quarter. He should have done more, but it wasn't his fault that he didn't do more. The Pistons, I don't want to say for some odd reason, if you watched the game, you saw it was kind of, a decision made by Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey had definitely his worst game of the year, and I think the fourth quarter was probably his worst quarter of the year. He was 0-3 in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't just about him being 0-3. It was about the decisions he was making in the fourth quarter. At the 3-minute and 30-minute mark, the Pistons took the lead by 1. Cade had a driving layup and got an and 1. At the 3-minute mark, they took the lead. Stu came in for Paul Reed. Jalen Green goes to the free throw line. Rockets take the lead back by 1. Pistons come back down. Cade throws a bounce pass to Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart converts the layup. They go back up by 1. Rockets come back down, miss a shot, offensive rebound, miss a shot, offensive rebound. They score again. So back up by 1 for Houston. That's the offensive possessions going back and forth. Cade scoring, Cade creating. Cade scoring, Cade creating. Rockets score, Rockets miss, offensive rebound, Houston score. That's how the possessions were going. Then at the 2-minute mark, Ivy probably had his worst 3-play stretch of the season. The Pistons down by 1. Ivy forces into a crowd, gets a charging foul. Forces into a crowd, gives Jalen Green a little bit of a push off with his elbow, gets called for an offensive foul. Dillon Brooks comes down, gets a dunk off an offensive rebound. Pistons come back down by 3. 10 seconds later, after the Rockets score, Ivy tries to push the tempo, drives into a crowd, misses the layup. Then, Houston comes back down, Sengun with the putback dunk. Now the Pistons are down by 5. Coming out of the timeout, they call timeout. Coming out of the timeout, Ivy takes another reckless layup 5 seconds into the shot clock, drives into a crowd of people. Tari Eason blocks his shot. Pistons come back down, 1 minute left. Down by 5 now. And by this time, you're thinking to yourself, it's probably done for. Well, Tobias comes down, hits a 3, you're down by 2. And to fast forward to what really matters, the Pistons somehow found themselves down by 2, or down by 3, with 7 seconds left. Cade gets the ball, they intentionally foul to stop him from making a 3. Cade makes the first one, misses the second one on purpose. Jaden Ivey gets the offensive rebound, tries taking a step-back 3 from the corner. Not a good shot. Tobias then gets the offensive rebound, has a chance to send to overtime. Gets fouled, has a chance to send to overtime. He misses both free throws, but he missed the second one on purpose. The first one, Tobias Harris misses, and that basically ended the game. Tobias makes both those free throws, you're going to overtime and have a chance to win still. But he misses the front end. That's ball game. He has to try to miss the second with 1 second left. It's basically over with, and the Pistons lose. This is now what feels like the 100th game this season, where the Pistons have a chance to win this game, are ahead at one point in the fourth quarter, and then just fall apart. If the Pistons and the Pistons fan base has any hope and want to believe that this team can make the play-in at the end of the year, these type of games can't keep happening. These kind of games can't keep happening. At the end of the year, if the Pistons miss the play-in by 2-3 games, these games are the ones you're going to look back on and say, they should have got these ones. Just because at the beginning of the year doesn't mean these games count any less. At the end of the year, if the Pistons miss by a few games, these will be the games that you look back on and say, they need to get some of these. They need to get some of these. And a lot of these losses have come down to offensive execution at the end of games, and then just being able to secure a rebound. Charlotte, they lose because they can't secure a rebound. This game, part of the 50% of the issue was they couldn't secure defensive rebounds. So that's 2 games right there. That if they just box out, they give them the Charlotte game, they box out, they just straight up win. Houston, they box out, they give themselves a way better chance of closing out this game, despite the struggles of what happened offensively. If they want to make the plan, these kind of games can't keep happening. They need to win these games and close these games out. And I'm going to say this. At the end of games, you should never, ever go away from Cade. You cannot go away from Cade. This does not mean Cade needs to take every shot. Doesn't mean I think Cade's going to be the most efficient scorer in the fourth quarter. Doesn't mean I think Cade is like LeBron or Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter. That's not what I'm saying. Cade is your best player. He's going to attract the most attention defensively. Use his gravity to then create for others. Just like that Lakers game when Ivy closed the game out, it's because he was operating off of Cade's gravity. They were sending doubles at Cade. Cade was kicking out to Ivy, then Ivy's attacking a rotating defense. When the Pistons, at the end of games, well, I think this is really one of the only ones they tried to do this, but at the end of the games, when you go away from Cade, you are basically forfeiting the advantage that Cade gives you on the offensive end, which is he doesn't have to score the basketball to have an impact. The Rockets were playing him with a lot of attention off ball. He was playing a really good game, playmaking-wise. He was scoring the ball. He doesn't need to take every shot. He had 4 assists in this fourth quarter despite this. He doesn't need to take every shot. Just let him create the advantage for his teammates. It's fine if Ivy takes 6, 7 shots in the fourth quarter, but let it come from the advantage that's being created for him. Let it come from him going against a tilted defense, a rotating defense. Going away from Cade and not allowing him to create those advantages is just bad basketball. It's bad offensive processing, and it's one of the main reasons why the Pistons lost this game. I don't want to dive too much into this because I want to save it for the third segment. So actually, you know what? I'll just, we'll wait to get there. But another reason why the Pistons lost, again, they At some point, they got to start shooting the basketball better, man. Like 32% from deep. They spent too much equity on their outside shooting for them to shoot like this. Spent way too much equity on their outside shooting for this to be how they're shooting this year. 33% on the season, 32% this game on 34 attempts. You just can't win like that. And then I know the counter is going to be, well, Houston didn't shoot that well from deep. Well, Houston doesn't need to. That's not what their roster was built on. Their roster was built with athletic defensive wings. They're going to crash the glass. They're going to run in transition. They're going to play hella defense and force turnovers and get out in transition. That's how they want to play. The Pistons went out and spent all of their cap space on shooting. They don't have defenders on this roster that are currently playing outside Isaiah Stewart. And Cade's been a good defender this year on ball. But that's not what they spent their money on. They spent all of their cap space on shooting. That's all of their equity this offseason. So when you spend all of that for that to be a main part of your team, that needs to be a part of your team that delivers. Yes, do they need to rebound better? Yes, okay. Can they turn the ball over a little less? Yes, okay. But when you put that much equity into a certain aspect of your team, you expect that part of your team to show up. Other parts, okay, you need to clean it up, you need to get better. The part that you invested the most should not be the part that's hurting you the most. That can't be the case. And the shooting is what's killing them. It's killing them. If they shoot better from the floor, if they shoot 36, 37% from three, they've won multiple more games. They have to start shooting better at some point, man. But fourth quarter execution, despite that, they had a chance to win the game. And for some reason, they went away from Cade completely for like 4 straight possessions. And on those possessions, it was just dead. It was just dead for. And then Tobias had a chance to send it to overtime, and I don't know. This is a really good free throw shooter in Tobias Harris. Really good free throw shooter. And he just missed the front end of the back-to-back. That's just, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I mean, it is what it is. That's you can't there's nothing you can really analyze with that, man. You gotta hit your free throws, especially if you're a good free throw shooter. You gotta hit your free throws, man. You gotta hit your free throws. This is a guy last 2 years has been an 88% free throw shooter. Pistons had their chance, man. They blew it. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys feel about this loss. What happened? What caused this loss for the Detroit Pistons? Again, let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at KukaHill. Coming up, is Cade taking that next step for the Detroit Pistons this year? We'll talk about that when we come back. Hey NFL fans, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free to bet on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to my personal YouTube at KukaHill. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter over at LockedOnDaily.com. Put your email in there. You'll get Locked On Pistons daily newsletters along with your daily podcast. Right now, we are 9th in the Locked On NBA channel in total subs. We deserve to be at the top 5. We are the best community in the Locked On NBA channel. So if you haven't already, go over there and subscribe to the Locked On Pistons daily newsletter, and so we can see our numbers soar up and show Locked On that we are the best community here. And also, if you want to be part of the Insiders Locked On Pistons program, text 313-914-6528. You'll get daily text messages from me. You can talk with me one-on-one, ask me whatever questions you want. We'll do Q&A, we'll do trivia, any insider information I'm hearing, any Pistons content, any rumors, news, anything, you'll get sent directly to your phone like a text message, so you don't need to go on social media and go scrolling, trying to find stuff regarding the Pistons. I got you covered. So text that number, subscribe. Really appreciate you guys. So Cade Cunningham, is he taking the next step for the Detroit Pistons this year? I think yes, but he can still be even better. Yes, and I don't think he's like scratching the ceiling of what he can be. This year, and now for some reason my PC has completely frozen on me. Okay, now here we go, it's working. Thank God. Cade on the season so far is averaging 23 points a game, 7.2 rebounds, 8.2 assists, 47% from the field, 34% from three, and 80% from the free throw line. That's not counting today's game. Basketball Reference doesn't have today's game counted yet, so I'm not sure what the averages will be. The numbers for scoring will go up a little bit. I think his percentages will go up as well. He shot well from the field today. Hovering around the same true shooting percentage as last year, around 55 true shooting percentage. Him having to miss one of the free throws is going to hurt that at the end of the game to give them a chance to get the offensive rebound. So that's going to hurt a little bit. But in this game against the Houston Rockets, he had 26 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, nearly another triple-double. He just had 3 straight triple-doubles. He misses it by 2 rebounds and 1 assist this game to make it 4 straight. So again, the question is Cade taking that next step? Yes and no. I say yes because he's clearly a better basketball player this year. He's much more engaged defensively. He's having much more of an impact defensively than he has at any other point of his career. Any other point of his career, he is a much better defender this year, and that you got to give a lot of credit to J.B. Bickerstaff for getting that out of him. He talked about it all offseason when you talked about Cade to him, or asked him questions, I should say, about Cade. JB constantly mentioned that this is a guy that can be a legit two-way player. This is a guy that can be a legit defender, long arms, big guy, can guard the wings, should be an impact defender for the Detroit Pistons. He talked about it all offseason. And he's been a really good defender for the Pistons this current season. I want to get the numbers. There was a tweet I saw that talked about his individual defensive field goal percentage. When guys are going against him, what's the percentage of shots that those guys are hitting? I saw that earlier, but my PC is really glitching out right now. I'm trying to get these stats, and they're just glitching out. So I can't, if I happen to find it while I'm talking, I'll let you guys know. But he's a much better defender this year. That's a big-time impact for, big impact and change for him this year when it comes to whether he's taking that next step. And then offensively, he's shooting much better within the paint, despite him not really shooting that great on layups. He needs to be a much better finisher still on drives to the rim. However, I saw this tweet from our guy Dope, who's been on the podcast before. He's shooting 52.8% from the paint, which is in the 82nd percentile. He's also having 5.3 attempts a game in the paint, 97th percentile. So he's shooting some of the most in the entire NBA, at the very top of the NBA amount of shots in the paint, and he's in the 82nd percentile in finishing those looks. And that's despite the fact that I feel like he's not finishing layups at the quality he could be finishing them at. And he's not drawing as many free throws as he should be. He has 6 free throws in this game. But he can still be drawing more free throws. If he hits more of his layups, if he just becomes a better finisher on layups, that percentage goes even higher. He's shooting much better on floaters. He's shooting much better on hook shots. They're getting him in the post a lot more, so he's able to get to that, like 3 to 5 foot area instead of having to take everything right at the rim. And his touch on those shots has greatly improved to start this year. Again, another tweet from our guy Dope. He put out Cade shooting 52% so far on floaters this year. Last year he shot 38%. On hook shot, he's shooting 64% this year. Last year he shot 29%. So his touch in the in-between area has greatly improved. And despite the fact that he's playing better defensively, despite the fact that he's shooting better within the paint, despite the fact that he's putting up better numbers, despite the fact that the Pistons are winning more games at the pace this year than they obviously were last year, he's honestly not even shooting that well. I don't feel like he's shooting as well as he could be on his mid-range pull-ups. Like last year, it felt like they were automatic. This year, I don't feel like he's hitting them as at a high enough clip. At least over the last few games. Start the year, he was money. He was hitting all of them. But the last few games, it's not like he's been draining his midi pull-ups. And he's been on a little bit of a cold streak shooting-wise from the outside the last 4 games, even though he hit 2 out of 4 tonight against Houston. Hopefully that helps. But over the last 4 games, 1 of 4 from deep, 1 of 5 from deep, 0 of 4 from deep, 1 of 4 from deep. And despite that, he's had 3 straight triple-doubles. He's been leading the Pistons won 3 of the last 4 games before this one. So is he taking the next step? Yes. He's becoming a better leader. He's becoming a better playmaker. He has better spacing around him, so he's getting more assists, and guys are hitting more shots. Even though if they hit more shots, he would be averaging even more assists. He would definitely have gotten that triple-double, I think, tonight if guys would have hit shots. He's a better defender. He's shooting better in the in-between area, has better touch on those shots. You're starting to see him hit more dribble pull-up threes, by the way, this year. He's taking a lot more dribble pull-up threes, and he's hitting more of them, which is really good. But he could still get even better. There is another step that he could be taking for the Pistons this year. So, is he taking the next step? Yes, but he's not even close to there yet. Averaging 23 this year, he's going to get to 25 a game, I think, this year. He's going to get to 25 plus per game this year. I think he can easily average 25, 7, and 7 this year, as long as he continues to be as active as he's been on the boards, which they desperately need him to be because of the absence of Ausar Thompson. And he's shooting 80% from the free throw line this year. This is a guy who's been an 85 career free throw shooter for his career. Last year was a near 88% free throw shooter. He's going to get back to that, or 87% shooter last year. He's going to get back to that, even though, again, intentionally having to miss one tonight hurts. But he's going to get back to hitting a higher percentage of his free throws. You're seeing Cade glow up. You're seeing Cade take another step this year in his game. Last year he shot 48% on twos. This year so far he's shooting 53% on twos. So it's like he's making improvements across his game. The Pistons are winning more games because of it. You saw him close out a game, hit a game winner this past game, had a crazy block at the end of the last game to close it. You had another crazy block from him at the end of this game to really prolong the game on Sengun with like 25 seconds left. Chased down, blocked Sengun, kept the game alive. Honestly, should have had a chance to go to overtime. If Tobias hits his free throws, maybe we're having a different discussion. So Cade is taking that next step, but it's not. This step could get even bigger. It will get even bigger as the season goes on, because despite the fact he's taking the next step, it's not even close to what he can do. Not even close. I think his three-point shooting will get even better. He'll hit more of his middies as the season goes on. He's in a little bit of a slump. He'll start to hit more free throws. And the turnovers are slowly coming down and down. Beginning of the year, he was averaging like 7, 6, 9. The turnovers are slowly creeping down. They're getting lower. Still would like them to get even lower than they are, but they're getting lower. This game he had 4. Again, like I said, you want him to be, fighting between like that 3 and 4 spot. That's where you want the turnovers to be for someone his usage. So he's slowly trending down. Cade's taking that next step, man. And I'm starting to see national media take notice. A lot of people are seeing how well Cade's playing and talking about him. So the Pistons, and I think it has to do obviously with the fact that the Pistons are winning more games at the start of this year than they did last year. Obviously, that's the change. And they needed to win this game, man. This is another one they needed to win. But they'll get another chance in a few days, man. But this is just a crushing loss, man. But let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. Do you think Cade is taking that next step this year? Are we watching him take that next step to being an all-star this upcoming year, to becoming that all-NBA player that I think he can become? Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill. When we come back, the Pistons have a wing problem, and they need to get clarity on a certain situation. I'm a procrastinator. I wait to the last second with just about everything, and it often screws me over when it comes to purchasing tickets to my favorite event, whether it be concerts, theater event, whether it be a sporting event. I often wait to the last second, get terrible seats, get terrible pricing. But with Game Time, it absolutely saves me. With Game Time, you get last-minute deals all the way up to the last second, sometimes even after the event has already started. So if you wait to the last second like me, you can still get great deals on your tickets, so you're not paying more than you have to on whatever event tickets that you are going to. Also, if you happen to get a ticket to to an event, you get there and the seat isn't what you like. Oh no, now I got a seat that I don't really want to be sitting at. I shouldn't have gotten this one. Game Time helps you with this because you can see what your seat looks like right within the app before you purchase the tickets. I'm telling you, Game Time has absolutely changed how I purchase tickets to my favorite events. You also got the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We're free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. All right, I think it's time for us to be able to, before we talk about this, I want to make it clear. Let's not go full doomsday. Don't take my words and go full doomsday with this, okay? It's just something we have to talk about. I think it's a situation that needs to be, discussed. But don't go, I'm not going doomsday. Do not take my words and go doomsday with this, okay? The Pistons need to get clarity on Ausar Thompson's situation. We don't know what's going on. I don't think we're ever going to be told until the news that we're going to get is he's returning to action. That's the next bit of news we'll hear about this. I don't think we're going to get any kind of like update about this is happening or it's going to take we're not going to get that update. The next update that the public's going to get is he's returning to action or he's not playing. Like that's the next update we're going to get. The Pistons, though, I'm going to believe, I have to believe, have some kind of understanding of what's going on. They just can't leak it to the public. And I'm sure the league has an understanding of what exactly is going on, a level of understanding. Maybe not know everything, but they have a level of understanding of what's going on. They have to have that. Now, Ausar is staying, he's been practicing, not technically with the team, but he's still doing like individual workouts at practice. He's been at practice, etc. So if he gets cleared, he's going to be ready to go. But the Pistons need to get clarity on if and when he's coming back. And if they have any understanding of how long it's going to be, if it's going to be a long time, whether it be months, this year, we're not going doomsday. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but they need it. If they have that understanding where it's going to be potentially months instead of potentially weeks. If it's weeks, okay, then you just wait it out. But if it's going to be potentially months, if he potentially will miss this year, like if that's on the board, they have to go address the wing position. They have to find some way to address this because they are going to get eaten alive by teams like the Houston Rockets until they do. Ausar Thompson would have changed so many of these games for the Pistons this year because of his defense, because of his point of attack defense, because of his weak side rim protection, and because of how great of a rebounder he is for his position. The Charlotte game wouldn't have happened with Ausar Thompson. This game by Tari Eason wouldn't have happened with Ausar Thompson. Multiple other games that the Pistons lost at the end of the game would not have happened if Ausar Thompson was on the floor. Because he changes how they play defensively. He changes their way they can rebound at the end of the games. He changes all of that. Absolutely changes all of it. He provides some secondary creation. When Cade and Ivy go to the bench, we've seen them struggle majorly when one of them goes to the bench. I just told you guys the numbers on the last podcast. I believe it's -7.5 when Ivy goes to the bench and only Cade. And with only Ivy and Cade, it's -16.5. So they get destroyed when one of them are off. When they're both on, they have a positive net rating. When they're both off, or one of them's off, it's terrible. Because they don't have any other secondary creation. He would be providing that. So without Ausar, it's really hurting them. It's really hurting them. With him, they would have won more games. If he's going to be out months, if they understand that that's going to be the situation, they cannot continue on with this wing room without addressing it. For this reason why. It's not this reason only. I was going to say this reason only, but there's multiple reasons. One, they're not playing well. Or one guy in particular is not playing well that they really need to play well, and that's Simone Fontecchio. Simone Fontecchio is having probably the worst possible start you could have imagined for him to have to start this year. He shot 1 of 3 from 3 in this game, 1 of 4 total. He was a -5 in this game. He just doesn't, if you watch the games, he just doesn't look comfortable. He's taking way too many dribbles this year as opposed to last year. He's forcing a lot of things. He doesn't look like he's comfortable within the offense. He's not been good defensively either. He doesn't look comfortable on that end. He's shooting 36% from the field. He's not helping a lot on the glass either. He's not helping on the defensive end either. So him playing so poorly to start the year is really making it even more of a glaring issue. If Simone was playing much better, like how people expected him to play, I think it would probably still be an issue, but it wouldn't be as glaring of an issue. And they could probably survive without having to address it. But Simone is playing so poorly right now to start the year. It's like it's blasting you in the face. It's like a big flashlight just in your face, like Dead by Daylight. If you play Dead by Daylight, you know what I'm saying. It's like you're playing a killer in Dead by Daylight. They pull in the flashlight, putting it right in your face. You can't. It's just all over. You can't get away from it. So Simone playing so poorly has really hurt it. And the other issue is the other player that in your wing room that you would hope, okay, let's see if this guy can help with, filling in Ausar's absence. Ron Holland, he's 19 years old. You're putting too much on his plate. And like you see against a team like the Rockets, who have a smart coach in Ime Udoka, you saw for a lot of this game, can Ron Holland potentially help you on the glass? Sure, he didn't really help tonight. But, okay, overall, yes, he he can help you on the glass. However, offensively, when you go against smart coaches like the Rockets did tonight, they just weren't guarding Ron Holland and were double teaming off of him and really helping down in the paint, forcing Cade to kick out to him, forcing Ivey to kick out to him, which results in Ron Holland having to take 6 threes from the corner tonight, and he shoot 1 of 6 from 3. Those are open shots for the Pistons, but they're not good shots. They're open shots for a reason. There's differences between creating and generating open threes for your good shooters. That's a good process. Giving the defense what they want by having Ron Holland take 6 threes, that's a win for the Rockets. You're doing exactly what they want them to do. So Simone's playing poorly and not giving you anything really. Ron Holland, you can't really, you're putting too much on his plate. He's a 19-year-old. But if you want to try to get the defensive rebounding out of him, you're kind of forfeiting offensively, and smart teams can take advantage of that. So you can't play him too much because it'll be a detriment to your offense. And then if that's the case, now you're stuck playing Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. at your 5, and now you got 6'5" and 6'4" guys trying to box out Tari Eason, trying to block out Brandon Miller, trying to block out Amen Thompson. Like, that's what you got going on now. So now the Pistons, because they have to play Tim Hardaway Jr. majority of the time, he fits the best. You have to play Malik Beasley most of the time because he fits the best. You have to play those guys, and they're undersized. So now you're just getting killed. You get killed in the glass in critical situations because teams with bigger wings will just really make their presence known. Tonight, when Amen Thompson and Tari Eason were on the floor, they were destroying the Pistons. They completely, like in their minutes, they were torturing the Pistons, especially in the second half. And it's because of their defense and because of how active they were on the glass. When the Pistons go against lengthy, athletic wings, they're going to get exposed on the wings. And most teams have that now. And the Pistons' counter to that was, okay, we have one of our own. Except he's not on the floor. Except he's not available, and no one knows when he's going to be. So if the Pistons have clarity in the situation and they know he's going to be back within the next few weeks, then okay, you just got to wait till Ausar comes back. But if they have any kind of understanding that it's going to take a while, if they know that it's going to take a few months, if they have any kind of belief that it may take the year, if they know this, now maybe they don't, but I'm going to assume they have some kind of idea of what's going on, that they just can't release to the public. If they have any kind of understanding concerning that, they have to go out and get something. They have to go out and address this somehow because the Pistons are playing really well. Their guards, despite Ivey having his worst game of the year, he's been good for the most part of this year. He's looked really good. Cade and Ivey have looked really good. They look like they're taking the next step. They've been in a close game almost every single game besides the Knicks game. They are playing good basketball. And if they could just get something on the wing to help with like their size, like Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., I think mostly have been good for the Pistons. But they need somebody to do what Ausar Thompson does, and they just don't have someone on the roster to do that right now for heavy minutes. So I think if it's going to take a few months, you need to go out and address this. You have or the team's going to be held back by that. That's going to be an issue. It's something that's going to pop up anytime the Pistons go against athletic wings that are active on defense and active on the glass because they just don't have guys that can hang up with them. They don't have big enough guys. They can't box them out. It's going to be a problem. At the end of this game, Tari Eason changed the outcome of the game because he was all over the place on the offensive glass, and the Pistons were stuck having to play Tim Hardaway Jr. or Malik Beasley, and it's just not going to, that's just a mismatch at all times. It's going to be a mismatch every game the Pistons play if they have to do that. So it is what it is. Let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kuka Hill if you guys agree or disagree with me about this wing problem. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Locked On Pistons. Give us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. My goodness. Subscribe to my personal YouTube channel at Kuka Hill. Subscribe to the daily newsletter at LockedOnDaily.com. Type in your email. Subscribe to... Oh, I just talked about the newsletter. Where's the other thing you guys always need to subscribe? Oh, subscribe to the Locked On Insiders, Locked On Pistons Insiders program. My guy, I'm having trouble closing this episode out. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Till next time, peace out, everybody.